Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Centre Night. How are we all doing?
Hey, Carl.
Cam, Trent, Eliza, Yvette, it's good to have you along.
Good to be.
It's being rugged up. It's very cold in our house at the moment. The only heater we have is a central heater which heats the entire house, so it's quite wasteful. So we rug up in winter instead. It's pretty cold in here. Anyway, so Centre. I guess the rough agenda is to talk a little bit about what the role of a centre really is in terms of how the structure that we use in the dev squad, and also a bit about technique, how to win face-offs or deny your opponent from winning face-offs a little bit, and also we'll talk about what to do at face-offs themselves and how to position the puck and what sort of opportunities are present at face-offs and why the face-off is so important too. A lot of people kind of underestimate the value of a face-off win, but there are times when it's actually really important. What do you reckon some of those times might be?
D-zone face-offs.
Yeah, they're pretty important. There's another really important one, but that's a good one. What else? What is really important?
Penalty kill.
Yeah, the PK. You want to get the puck down the other end. You want to send it all the way to Moe. You can't do that if the opposition has the puck. So a penalty kill face-off is a really important one as well. Not that the other ones don't matter, but those two are probably the most important, where you want to get control and do your thing with the puck rather than let your opponents do their thing with the puck. The third one that's probably everything just went spike with the power, but it's all good. The joys of having a UPS. The other thing that is quite important is the offensive zone face-off. Because if things go wrong on an offensive zone face-off, and we know because we have our defensive zone face-off structure, it's twice everything here is spiked. Upset my printer, but anyway, that's all good. We've got a UPS. The joys of electricity in modern Australia. So yeah, the offensive zone face-off is also quite an important one. But any of them really, and Trent, I'm not going to pick on you, but I'm going to use your experience this last game as being a particularly useful one to look at what can happen when
That's all good.
when face-offs, when you have a plan and you execute the plan, but the plan itself ends up not being terribly effective. Because what you did was actually really good. It's just it had consequences that were unintended. So kind of tonight is looking at the consequences of what we do when we do face-offs. Before I kind of jump into any more of it, do any of you have any specific questions you want to ask?
Nope, all good.
All right, so we'll go into it. First of all, we're kind of looking at the role of the centre. It's kind of a little bit of the more theoretical part, and then we'll look at the other bits of it as well. But I do love that photo that you can probably all see there of Bergeron, and I'm not sure who the Habs player is, but that's just it is such a fantastic photo of a face-off. That's got to be an award winner. That one is brilliant. What's going on there, do you reckon? I mean, obviously it's a face-off. But what do you see? Who's winning it?
Habs player.
Yeah, probably. He's got the puck first. Bergeron was one of the best face-off players in the league, but he didn't win them all. And I think that's one of the things to be mindful of too when you do take face-offs is you're not going to win them all. A good face-off percentage is around sort of 60%. And if you're winning 60% of your face-offs, you're doing well. I had a terrible night when I played last night. I think I won like 20%. It was awful. Pardon me. Anyway, so in our structure and the way we play things in the dev squad, we use the centre primarily as an insurance policy. So the centre's job is to own the middle of the ice and to basically be a third D who's allowed to roam. Doesn't mean you never score any goals and you're never in position to, because that's certainly not the case. But the primary role is to support the other players in their positional play, and the most important part of that is managing defence. I'm going to show you. You've all seen this a few times. At least I think you all have. I'm going to show you the heat map of where goals are scored. So I'm pretty sure everyone's seen that diagram before. Any of you not seen it? You've all seen that one. That's the title, and that's fairly obvious. That's data from the 2016, 2017, and 2017, 2018 seasons about where goals are scored. So it's actually interesting to see there are a few scored from behind the net. I think that's kind of wraparounds and stuff like that as well. I don't quite know exactly how you score a goal from directly behind the net. So maybe it's some sort of a bizarre statistical anomaly. I don't know. But you can see there's that part of the like this section here is, you know, absolutely your priority to own. And we do that with 2D typically, and also with usually with the center, with the wingers up high doing the breakout thing, which we've practiced now, and hopefully you guys are all familiar with. You know, the role of the winger is usually to stay up high above that line of the circles. So we sort of have this imaginary electric field running down here. It's supposed to be a straight line, but anyway, with wingers here and here, and the wingers are supposed to stay up nice and high. Pardon me. And we also know that puck comes over here. That winger's job is to skate to the middle and then skate up, and this winger's job is to skate over there. And we practice that every training session, and we talk about it every game. By the end of the season, you might actually be able to do it. And certainly as centres, your role in that play is to own this section here. And it's on the breakout, when that winger blasts up the ice and the other winger takes off after them, your job is to follow it, not to be in the middle of it. What do you reckon?
In case it goes wrong.
When it goes wrong, it's going to some of the time. In fact, it's going to go most of the time. We create a lot of breakouts, and how many of them turn into actual goals?
Not a lot.
Yeah, not a lot, because it's hard to score. And it's very hard to score against an organised defence. And at the moment, because you're all beginners, it's hard to score against a disorganised defence as well, because your shooting isn't there yet, but it'll come. And it's just a practice and experience and believing in yourself sort of a thing. So you got to shoot the puck on the net, yeah. A lot of people don't. I watched one of the Div 8 games, one that Jane was playing in, and it was a really exciting game between the Rock Lobsters and one of the Southern Lights teams. It ended up 3-2. It was really close, and it could have gone either way. And the Lobsters had a girl, I think it was her first game. She probably really should be playing Div 9. But anyhow, she was playing Div 8. And she had about 4 chances where she got the puck on a clear breakaway and didn't shoot. I'm just watching this going, would you please shoot the puck? Just shoot it on the net. The goalie's not very good. You just have to put it on the net and it might go in. Anyway, you've heard me rant about this over and over again, and you'll get sick of it. But yeah, we want the center to own that ice. So that when the puck goes down the other end as well, remember the triangle we practiced at training? You've got, you know, a forward over here who's got the puck. Because usually what happens is you get driven off into a corner, isn't it? Because their D comes back down the middle, assuming they know what they're doing. And so the only place the puck carrier can go is out wide. Or it ends up there somehow anyway. Usually most attacking players, unless you get a nice clean breakaway, end up in a corner. And so we have another forward that we want to drive into this position, right in that high percentage spot. And the other forward up here somewhere. Guess who that other forward should usually be?
The center.
You guys, absolutely. We don't want you overcommitting. And you'll see time and time again, you watch every single grade of hockey, it doesn't matter what division it is or anything like that, you'll see forwards getting excited. Fair enough. You know, we get excited, we want to score goals. And we end up with 3 forwards all in here. They get the puck. Oops. It's a bad day, right? Because then they've got a 3-on-2 or a 2-on-1 or a 2-on-none or some other odd player rush. And as hopefully you guys are all aware, the single most likely goal scoring opportunity is an odd player rush. So it's our priority to create them, and it's also our priority to deny our opposition getting on play rushes, because if they do, that's where the easy goals are. Well, relatively speaking, anyway, assuming you actually know how to shoot, but it's certainly the best chance. I think the statistics are roughly 1 in 4 to 1 in 5 odd player rushes results in a goal across pretty much every level of hockey. And an ordinary scoring opportunity is roughly 1 in 20. So it's that odd player rush is absolutely a priority to create and to deny. Oh, there's some dust or something or other in this house. Either that or I'm just dying. It happens. Okay, so that's your job as a center, is to come up the middle. And on a 1-2-2 forecheck, which we went through on the weekend at the training session, hopefully you remember, if they've got the puck, I'm going to use a dot or something or other. I think there's some sort of a stamp that I can use to make it a little bit more obvious. So let's say the bad guys are wearing, what color should the bad guys wear? Take your pick. Whatever, they can be that. This isn't changing colors on me, and the dialogue box isn't showing up. I'm not getting a dialogue box. Hello, Zoom. No, doesn't want to play. All right, so they've gone in, they've got the puck. We get our 1-2-2. So our 1 is doing that, coming in at an angle to put pressure on them. Remember that one from the training session?
Yep.
What did we do if you didn't take the boards away?
Shut it up the ice.
Yeah, bite it all the way to Moe. Go get it. Take the boards away, and it creates more confusion. And the other 2 forwards were here and here at the top of the face-off circles, not going all the way in. I know certainly when we were starting off, we were getting like multiple forwards all kind of rushing in too deep. The problem with that is we don't have possession. So we're talking about the triangle. The triangle is when we've got the puck. When they've got the puck and they're breaking it out, we don't want that setup. We want the 1-2-2. We put pressure on them, but just that one player. Is that one player usually going to be the center?
Sometimes.
Sometimes, but preferably not. Why is that?
So the center can get back check.
Yeah, because the wingers won't.
Yeah.
Wingers
Want to score goals.
aren't going to do that. They want to score goals. They don't understand defense. It's not in their heads. I mean, there are defensive wingers, but they're a rarity. They're all about, I'm going to go score a goal. I'm going to score a goal. That's great, because you need that. You need those just maniacally focused on scoring goals players, and they're an important part of your team. That's how you score your goals. But your insurance policy is your center. Now, it might be that you're the one to go in, and that's okay if circumstances decree that, you've got to go in. But just be mindful that as soon as they get the puck or turn it around, you've got to be barreling back down the middle, absolute flat chat. All right. So if you get beaten here, you've got to do that. Straight back down the middle as quick as you possibly can. Which means you better be fresh, huh? How quickly can you sprint back when you're gassed?
Yeah, not very.
Okay. So that's why, another reason why, and this is can be a frustrating thing for centers in particular, when we do our breakout. Sorry, I'll just clear these lines off so we can kind of go through it again. So when we do our breakout and we've got one of our wingers doing this, and the other winger doing that, we're following here. Guess what? That's a good opportunity to do for a center.
Get a change.
Yeah, absolutely. You're behind the play anyway. It doesn't matter. You get off and you get the next center on, next center straight into the attack. You might think, there's my chance to score a goal. Oh, but that's your responsibility. You get the fun of the face-offs, all right? And face-offs are great. I love face. Who doesn't love face-offs as a center?
Yeah, it's a good battle.
It's the best part of the game. Scoring goals is great. But face-offs are just so much fun. It's that close gladiatorial. Anyway, sorry, but it's your chance to get your change. So when you get that change, you peel off, the next center comes back in, and it's a really good chance to do it. I mean, there are exceptions to that. If you just come on from a face-off or something like that, then that's different. But if you've been out for 30, 40 seconds, that's your chance to get a change and take it. I let the wingers go off and do what they do, get another center on quickly, And then you've got fresh legs who has also got enough, hopefully enough freshness to get back fast, because that's absolutely critical. If you can't get back quickly because you're tired, you're not helping. Right. So from the point of view of sort of general structure, that's really all I wanted to go through about this part. It's owning that middle ice and making sure that you know that the middle ice is your territory. The other one to be really conscious of is in defense, is your role as a backup D. What'll happen if the puck goes over here? One of our D will go over and probably contain. Do you remember that containing thing we did with your active stick and that sort of stuff? We did that at training. Remember? Yep. Yeah. One D will go over and try and contain that corner option. Your job as a center is to be around about here. And the other D's job is to be about here. And your job as that center is to be watching where's the loose player. And to pick up that loose player and lift this stick up off the ice. You're not scoring a goal, not on my watch, buddy. Ain't happening. Right, so you get that physical defense presence as well. That's another thing that's great fun, is sort of denying those opportunities, getting in someone's face, lifting this stick up and saying, you're not scoring on me, matey. Sometimes they do anyway, but that's kind of the point there too. So you're picking up that loose player. So you have to understand D, and it's worthwhile. Every center should cycle through D for a couple of weeks. So I think all of you are playing center. I'm not sure if you are at the moment, but you're probably thinking about it. If you're going to play center, there's a lot of value in doing 2 or 3 games playing D, because you'll understand it better. So if I take a center and I put you back in D for a couple of weeks, I'll try and talk to you beforehand and say, look, we're going to cycle you through. It's so that you learn and you develop better as a center. It's not a punishment. It's not like you've done something wrong. It's an opportunity to improve your skill set and be a more useful center, because you need that defensive experience. You need to know how to own the slot. You need to know how to read a back check. If one of your D goes for a skate, and we encourage them to. I'm not saying every D is not, you must be a stay-at-home D, don't do that. And some of our D don't skate well enough to be involved in attacks, but some of them do. And when they go for a skate, guess who has to cover it up? You do. How do you know? How do you know to cover?
Keep an eye on a D.
Yeah.
See if they're pinching in.
You've got to be reading the game all the time. You've got to know where every player is. Well, you've got to try to anyway. So you've got to have your radar on all the time. You've got to have the big picture view is the center. Wingers have got a fairly narrow focus. They're on the burst. If it doesn't work, they turn around, come back, have another go. That's fine. They cover the high point. Ideally, they do that. Again, that's fine. Their role is fairly simple. The D's job generally is to own that defensive zone, pass the puck up the ice when they get it. Your job is everything. That's what makes it so challenging, and why you need to those quick changes too, because you have to have fresh legs and a fresh brain too. And if you're too tired, you can't think. You watch centers in the third period when it all falls apart. So that's kind of our role. I'm not trying to scare any of you off from doing it, because I think you're all kind of up for the challenge. But it is enormously satisfying, and expect to make dozens and dozens and dozens of mistakes every game and get it wrong a lot. That's okay. It's a beginner league. You're allowed to. And it happens at the elite level as well. Centers make mistakes all the time. Watch Austin Matthews. Anyway, he got nominated for the Selkie. I don't understand it. You guys know what the Selkie is?
Yeah, it's a defensive forward award.
Yeah, well, it's technically two-way. So it's the forward through the NHL who is considered to be the best, both attack and defense. Someone nominated Austin Matthews for it. I couldn't defend his way out of a paper bag. Score a lot of goals, but not when it matters. Anyway, so let's talk a bit now about face-offs. We'll start off first of all looking at a little bit about the plan with a face-off and where you want to put the puck. So I'm going to show you some videos, and we'll kind of just use them as a little bit of an open learning thing. So what I want you to do is, when I show you the video, I'm just going to let it play, and then we'll have a bit of a talk about each situation and see what happened. is a good one, I think. So a lot of these are samples from B League games at iceHQ, and they're the ones that I've kind of got copies of. So if you see me in them a few times, I do apologise. It's because I watch the videos of the games that I'm involved in, but you'll also see yours. So let's have a look at what happens in this one. I can't remember this one, so we'll just see what happens. Oops, I'll restart it so you can see. Watch the first bit again. Watch the face-off and where the puck goes, and then what the D immediately does with the puck. What did you see?
Face off, win. D shot it up the boards.
Yep.
Dumped it in.
Yep.
It's kind of like a forecheck.
Yep. They fell over. They tripped over the puck. It happens, right? And that was in B3, which is kind of Div 5, Div 4 now. And so people make those sorts of mistakes and fall over at every level of hockey. So I don't think it's just beginners who do it. So the key part of that play was the face-off win back to the D, who then fired it up the boards. That's a classic starting play from centre ice. That was me taking the face-off and scoring the goal, by the way, just in case you're wondering. I don't get very many, so I like to celebrate them when I do. But you see also centre wearing number 80 straight down the middle of the ice, yeah? Unmarked player in the slot, single most dangerous thing, second most dangerous thing after the rush. Goal. Yay! Seems easy, really, doesn't it? I missed about 8 that night, but got that one. So what's happening there? I'll just pull up the rink diagram. This is a very classic play. So you got your centre, wins the face-off back to the D. The centre moves up that way. That winger, as soon as they see you won it, starts moving up the ice as well. May even track across to the boards. And the D immediately bounces the puck off the boards and back into play that way. It's a classic thing, right? You'll see it all the time. It relies on their D getting a little bit out of position and your D, as soon as they get it, firing it straight at those boards to get that momentum and keep you moving. It's about driving your players forward. So Trent, that's quite different to what you were doing, which was playing back to your winger. That's playing back to your D, which gives the D a bit more time. D can always step up to the puck too, and that way they're moving. You want to try and avoid playing the puck to someone who's standing still, unless they're actually going to shoot. Even if you've got good control over the wind, you want to create movement rather than pass to someone standing still. Except go back to the D, but the D in that case can move up and fire the puck up the ice. So it's a classic thing, that particular maneuver, that game. So you generally it's prearranged. You tell your D beforehand, if I win it back to you, I want you to play it straight away up the boards. And then you and your winger, the winger will just follow it anyway, because that's what wingers do. But as a centre, you can cut across a little bit and then go up the middle lane and try and get the whatever opportunity comes from that. Maybe you score a goal, but sometimes it happens. Okay, so it's a classic play. I don't know how many of you saw the video at the start, which was full of face-off goals, but there's loads of them as well. I'm going to show you now, and Trent, again, I'm not picking on you, but you know where this is going.
Yep, I know.
Okay, so this one, there's actually some really good things that come out of this particular play. It's just the actual plan itself was vulnerable. I want you to have a look. Trent's there wearing the red, and have a look at his head at the start. All right, what did you just see? Now, Trent, you know, what about the rest of you? What did any of you see there?
Communicated to the winger.
Yeah, you had a look. It's going to you. Right? And your winger's set up in a position to receive a pass. Now, the communication, fantastic. The player knows what's going to happen, or at least what you're going to try and make happen. Doesn't always work, but you know, there's a plan and you're going to try and execute it. What he does when he gets the puck, can you discuss that at all? Brent, did you have any discussion apart from
Sorry, no, didn't get that far.
Okay, so it's just I'm going to give it to you. Okay, it's a good start. It's not a criticism. It's actually a really good start. It's a terrific step. The communication's happening. The message was perhaps a little ambiguous, but the communication was good. So let's see what actually happens. All right, straight to him. Beautiful. Only problem is can't handle it because he's way too close. And now look at what happens. Right, and we get a rush against it. But the really good things that came of that was there was a plan. And that's good. The plan was executed, also good. The plan itself needed some work. But those two things happened, and that was great play, especially because Trent, we haven't really given you much instruction on that yet. But it's a great teaching tool, and I'm really pleased how you did that and what you did in terms of making that happen. We're going to improve that throughout the season and get you doing things which will be a bit more productive. But as a whole, by the way, the teams are totally wrong there too, aren't they? It's not the Swayzes in the big deals. Anyway. Yeah, there's another. So goals, we've seen that one. So we've seen the example of chipping the puck up the boards and going through from there. We've seen a play from the neutral from the center ice, which was executed well, but not particularly useful play. Now let's have a look at some attacking and defensive zone faceoffs because they're quite valuable as well. I'm going to show you first of all, if you haven't seen this one before, this is quite an interesting one. No, not that one. That's not the one I wanted. Where is it? Am I done with it? Come on. That's it. Sorry, I've just got to find a particular video which I've mislaid. Just be with me for a second while I find it. Yes, is the one. Yeah, here we go. Sorry, while I just copy some files around. So I've got them the next time. Okay, so just before we go into that, I want to show you another example of that center ice play that I showed you that scored the goal earlier. I want to show you that one again, but this is a different example of it. Just so you can kind of see that play back to the D, who then plays it up the boards play again. Right, so it's gone straight back to the D. D gets control of it, waits, passes it up the boards. And what if you? It's a bit hard to see, but if you watch the top right-hand screen, you see what the forwards are doing. Right, it's pre-arranged. We know where the puck's going. We've told our D, if you get it, you pass it, you rim it up, you bounce it off the boards and play it up to the forwards. So it doesn't quite work out, but it almost does, and it creates that opportunity and creates that momentum. Right. It's a really good play. If we can get that working, if you as centers can start doing that, then you'll find that really helpful. You do need your D to understand what to do. and they've got to know that when they get that puck, they bounce it off the boards in front of you if they can. So talk to them beforehand. We give you time before the start of each game to talk amongst yourselves. That's when you as centres can start talking about those sorts of things. What do you have to be mindful of, though, when you do that? Anyone? You're going to go and talk to them about face-off plays. What do you need to be mindful of? Dan, any ideas? Eliza, you're being very quiet. Do you have a microphone? I know Yvette doesn't.
Are you talking about how you communicate to them?
Before the game, in the change room.
Sorry, what was the question?
Okay, so you've got a couple of plans. You've got some plays, like maybe from that middle ice face off, you're going to try and win it back to the D on your backhand side, and then they're going to chip it up the boards for you. How do you communicate that before a game, and what do you have to be mindful of? Because we give you time to do it. We give you roughly 10 minutes before the start of a game to talk amongst yourselves. You don't want to own that. We want you guys to use that time yourselves to try and be a bit creative and use it to communicate. So what should you be mindful of when you try and explain that to your team?
I'm not sure, but I would assume that you would discuss your game plan, so to speak.
What do you need to be
So-
mindful when you do?
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't overcomplicate it.
Yeah, don't try and say, look, this will do this, and this will do that, and this will do this, and if this doesn't have this, and this, and this, and that, because it won't work. It'll just go in one ear and out the other. Say, okay, center ice face off. If I win it back to you, chip it up the boards. That's all you want. And look at them afterwards. Look at them at the face off, like you did, Trent. You look at your player and say, "It's coming to you," and they'll go, "Yeah." What do I do then? Because we're still at the stage where anything complex is simply not going to stick. No one is going to remember complicated instructions. Half of us are still struggling to understand what a penalty kill is when it actually happens, and where wingers and just getting that winger lateral movement is still taking a bit of time. So you've got to keep it simple. Don't try and lay out a smorgasbord of choices and options at every different face off, and because it's just a waste of your time, and it will just confuse them.
And don't get disappointed if it doesn't pan out.
Well, that too, you build up an expectation, which again they're not ready for. This is beginner hockey players; they're still basically struggling to stand up. You haven't got the brain space to really think strategically. But you guys as centers, you need to start thinking strategically. Early days, but that's what you need to start doing. What am I going to do here? How can I try and get it to work? So Eliza's got a dodgy microphone. That's okay. All right. So with that in mind, let's have a look at some other stuff. I'm going to show you. This is an absolute classic. I can find, it's got a strange name. That's the one. Okay, so talking about plans and things that can go wrong. Is this the one? Yeah, this is the one. You may have seen this video before. I'm not sure. I know I've used it a few times, but it depends on who's here. What this one is this is another one of those, it's a great idea, but it doesn't work very reliably sort of plans. So this is, Trent, you know how I picked on you earlier? Now I'm picking on me. So it's, we're 1-1 here. I'm going to go through this slowly so you can see what happens. This is an attacking zone face-off for Rangers. We're playing against the Chiefs a couple of years ago now. So at this particular situation, I'm going to annotate it with lines so you can see what my plan is: to win the puck back to my D, who is then going to shoot. Seems like a good idea. You reckon?
In theory, yeah.
Yeah, I was having a good night. I was winning most of my face-offs, so I was feeling good. I thought this will work. They're beating us on the whole, but I'm winning my face-offs. I'll play back to my D. That's Chris White. He's got a pretty good shot on him. He's a good guy. He's got good puck skills. I know I can rely on him to at least get a shot away if I win the puck to him. The rest of our players are all roughly in the right place. It's all looking pretty good. I'm happy about this. Let's see what actually happens. He knew the puck was coming to him. Let's see what happens. What do you reckon?
If he misses that, you're in trouble.
Yeah, it looks pretty good though, doesn't it? But in the first instance, he doesn't miss it. Worse than that. They score a goal on us. Ah! One on none, breakaway. That's where the goals are. And it happened because their defensive zone face-off, their winger moved up quickly, did exactly the right thing. It just got in the way. But it also happened because that's actually a very low percentage option as a setup. If you play the puck back to that middle ice D, you're basically putting it where they want it. So it's a bad choice. It felt like a good choice at the time. It all worked just about perfectly, except that it didn't. It gave a goal away, and an easy goal. So as a setter, what are you not going to do? I'm not going to put it there, yeah? Where should you put it?
Try and get it on the net
Yeah, where do goals get scored?
in the slot.
In the slot. Put it in the slot. Show you. Oops. Where is it? This is the same game, same teams, same center. We're on a power play. No, we're on a penalty kill. Is that right? Yeah, we're on a penalty kill. No, it's 4-on-4. I think. Either way. Yeah, 4-on-4. I've learnt my lesson. I'm not going to do that silly pass back to my D now because that's given away a goal, and it's actually pretty close. We're up by 1, so it's just looking all right. Goalies have not had a good night, 6 and 5, but all the same. Let's watch what happens. I just scored the easiest goal in the world. Thank you very much. Put it in the slot, yeah? Best play you can do. Put it in the slot, get your winger. Make sure your winger knows that their job is to crash the net, which means, what does crash the net mean?
Go towards the net with your stick on the ice.
Drop the puck straight to the slot with your stick on the ice. Just be there to pick up whatever happens. Because you're going to try and put the puck right there. At this level, goalies will give rebounds. Who knows what could happen? It's not going to score goals a lot, but it will score goals. And if the goalie freezes the puck, you get another chance. It's all good, right? There's no losses in that particular play. It's a great option. And if they get it, you're not giving away a rush. So it's a safe play as well. Oh. Here's another example of it. This is just to show you that it's not just in the like in beer league that it works. So it's a slightly more sophisticated play on it, but it's still basically the same thing. Win the face off, put the puck in the slot and see what happens. Bingo, pull your ass, scores a goal. That'll do. Beautiful. right? If you want to have one play and an offensive zone face-off, that's the one to practice. There's lots of other ones you can try, but that's probably the best, certainly as a starting center for the first couple of seasons. Get that one working, and you'll be surprised how effective it will be. And it's safe too. You're not going to give away easy goals because they get a breakout on it, because you're not setting up for that. You're not putting the puck in somewhere where they can pick it up quickly and get behind your D. All right, so now we want to have a look at defensive zone face-off. Now, we've kind of looked a lot at defensive zone face-offs in the past, and we've got a play for that, haven't we? What's our basic defensive zone face-off play?
Try and get it up ice so the wingers can take.
Wingers move on the drop of the puck, yeah, straight up the ice. Okay, that's our play, yeah. So as a center, where do you want to put the puck?
Where the wingers are moving to?
Yeah, if you can, just behind the other center. It's pretty safe. They can't score from there. So from the point of view, the other alternative is to play it back to your D, but it's hard to get it back there sometimes, depending on which hand you're on. But if you can give it to your wingers on the burst, bingo, they're away. Happy times, Christmas, off you go. Go score a goal. I'll show you a great example of that at the elite level. Now, it didn't end out the way it should have, but this should have been the end of the season for Florida last season. Should have, but Bobrovsky was having an absolute blinder. Watch this. Oh. Right. That's Bergeron putting the puck back there because he knew Marchand was coming through. What happens? What are all the offensive D doing?
They're pinching in. Trying to get.
Is anyone behind them?
No.
Nope. Fantastic. And you can see what happens. The goal here. Right. And you've got a 1-on-none. Now, normally you wouldn't bet against Marchand in that situation, but must be dying of something. Anyway, with 2 seconds to go at a home crowd, game 5 of the series. If he pots this goal, they're going to the next round. If he doesn't, Florida get another chance, and it's what ended up happening. But you wouldn't bet against Marchand in that situation. That's what we're trying to create. We're trying to create that rush. Just finish it. So another example of it as well. This was quite a funny one. This was a grand final in A grade about 2 seasons ago, maybe 3 seasons. And the Kings are in the purple, and they're up 8-3 with 50 seconds to go in the third. What have we got?
Odd man rush.
How many?
4-on-1.
4-on-1. How can you not score a goal with a 4-on-1? You know how you don't score a goal with a 4-on-1?
Too many players.
Don't shoot the puck on the net.
Yeah, don't shoot.
If you don't shoot it, it's not going in. Guarantee it. Let's see what happens. Oh, he didn't shoot it. Well, the defense is back. Oh, take the shot. They didn't have a coach, but if you were coaching them, you'd just be like, "Oh, please just shoot the puck." I was commentating that game as we are doing some practice and stuff, and if you can't hear it on this particular one, but I'll upload the videos. You can have a listen to what the commentary says, and look, there should be a goal. So there's something very wrong with this team that they didn't score there. But they were already up, 8-3 with 30 seconds to go. It didn't matter. But still, shoot the puck. Or pass it or something. Put on the net. Or it's not going in. And what ended up happening is they got a turnaround and break out back the other way. Which would never have happened Anyway, you can see the advantage of that's that play and where you want to put the puck as a centre. Your two options are to put it back behind you into the corner where it's safe, or put it behind their centre into that place where your wingers are coming through in a hurry. You've got to remind your wingers. As a centre, you have to take responsibility for what your wingers do. If you don't remind them to move, they won't. And even if you do remind them to move, half the time they won't. But you've got to start doing it. Remember, so remember, drop of the puck, go. Keep it really simple. Drop of the puck, go. Give them some sort of a hand signal or something like that you've explained and yell at them. Referee drops the puck, you go. And they're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And sometimes they'll do it. Yes. Go score a goal. I'm trying to give you a goal. Go do it. All right, technique. Because we kind of looked at that and thought about where we want to put the puck and started seeding some of those ideas. Now, how do we actually do it? The first thing is to stand the right way with your stick held the right way. What can you see there about Charlie Coyle?
He's choked up on his stick.
Yep, and what else?
He's got one hand right near the blade.
Yep, what else? What else do you see?
Starting to get low.
Yeah, he's got his legs a long way apart. And where is he on the face-off dot?
To the left.
Why do you think that might be?
To give himself room to be able to play it back.
Yeah, think about where the face-off is in this. Look at the big picture. What sort of face-off is it for Charlie Coyle, who's the Bruins player in the white?
He's doing face off.
Fancy.
It's a D-zone face-off, isn't it? Where does he want to put the puck?
In the corner.
Yep, basically where the camera's photos from, or alternatively, tap it through behind. So he either wants to put it back here, or possibly just through there. There is two choices. He's positioned himself to the inside of the face-off dot. Why has he done that? Partially to give himself a better angle, but what's the other reason for it?
Just help him get between him and the goalie.
Yeah, well, not so much between him and the goalie, but to block the other centre. Because if the other centre does a chip through and tries to get to the goal, Charlie Coyle's in the way. And he's not going to get out of the way. Right, so it's a positioning thing as well. You don't have to stand directly behind the dot as long as your feet don't cross that line. Right, so as long as that foot doesn't cross that line there, he can stand right on that side. So that's exactly what he's doing and getting down low. Why do you want the really low grip?
If they hit your glove, you get a penalty.
There is that as well, yes. But you get better leverage down low. It's much harder for your blade to be pushed out of the way because what happens. Oops, wrong one. Some Vegas shots that I got from when I was over there. There's another good photo of it. No, not that one. Not that one. That one. Here we go. This is the one. All right. Here's a video of it. Just to show that I don't always use Boston games. This is the Queefs against Philly, I think. See the stats? What do you see from that? Lovey? Where's the Philly player trying to put the puck?
Trying to bring it back to his backhand.
Yeah, maybe, possibly, might be trying to do that.
Can't
What
see.
about Hyman for the Leafs? What's he trying to do? Just by the positioning of his hands.
To his forehand.
Yeah, I think he's trying to win it back to his D in the corner. Let's have a look what happens. Right to a player doing a one-timer. It's really nicely executed play. But you could kind of see how they set themselves up and how low they are, and how it was actually a second effort on the shot that got the pass back. So the initial play, it's neutral, isn't it? Their sticks have basically hit each other and no one's going anywhere. Puck sort of bobbles back, and then Couture manages to just tuck it back between his legs.
Yep.
Hyman's trying to get past him. Can't, because Couture's in the way. And he's not getting out of the way. And bang, they get a one-timer. I don't think it was a goal, but it was certainly a pretty good shot. All right, so you can see that low, hand down low on the stick gives you that ability to resist being pushed around. That has some value. So let's look at some other setups. This was Vancouver playing against Vegas last year. We were over there for the Kaha tournament. We got to go to an NHL game, and I got a pretty good seat there. It's right in line with the defensive zone face-off. Sweet. It's really nice. The crowd was going bananas too. Vegas won, but still, that was the year Vegas won the cup. What's going on there? Nothing? No thoughts? What do you reckon, Sam? Come on, what's going on?
Looks like I'm not sure from that.
Well, it's a face-off. It's not a trick question. It's a defensive zone face-off. What do you think the Vegas player might be thinking about doing? Looking at where his players are. Vegas is in the white.
Try and get to the inside winger.
Yeah, but he's going to be on his backhand. I reckon, and I can't remember exactly what he was doing. I think he's going to try and do that. Put the puck back that way. Because that's not a bad option. You play it back to that D. That D's fast enough. They can get a pass across to the other D who can then fire it in. That's not a bad play. It's much safer than trying to put the puck across.
So, yep.
Yeah, so that's not a bad choice. So if you were going to play back to a D, playing back to the D in the corner, good option. Playing that way, bad option. As a general rule, especially looking at where his winger is. See where the winger's there. That winger's probably going to crash the net, which means that one, then that one, then that one goes into traffic, and they might have a screen on the goalie or a tip in or any other sort of an opportunity. Who knows? It's not a bad play if they can do it. Or his other alternative is to try and generally chip it through that way again for this winger. Sorry, it's getting a bit messy in there. For that winger to go try score a goal on it as well. So if he chips the puck that way, this winger gets through there, you get a scoring opportunity. This D is probably there to clean up that mess. But what really should happen is the other D, probably that guy, should be thinking, you buddy, you're mine. You're not scoring a goal, not on my watch. Again, it's not a video, it's only a photo, so I don't have the what happened next side of it, but that's just something that you want to be conscious of, and where you put your hands and how you set up your stick can help you do that. And we'll go through that a little bit physically. You can't really do that just by looking at videos. You actually need to physically do it. This was, oh, is that the same photo? Yeah, it's the same photo, sorry. D zone 2, not D zone 1. Get out of here, BLC. So there's a photo. I think this is actually the same play. That's what happened immediately afterwards. Who's won the face-off?
Canucks.
Yeah, and what's the problem there? It's kind of funny.
Refs in the way.
Yeah, the ref's in the way. It's like, get out of the way, you bloody feet.
Happened a few times.
Why refs wear shin guards, because he's going to get away. He's right in the middle of it, and down goes the puck. And mate, seriously, you're going to cop it. So you need to be mindful too, as a centre. Where's the ref? Because they can get in your way and they can make life quite difficult. They don't mean to, but they've got to put themselves somewhere. And in a defensive zone face-off, they should always be on the outside, not the inside. So something else to consider when you're not so much the attacking centre, but the defensive centre. You may find if you're trying to play it back into this corner, if you're trying to put the puck back there, that this guy is going to be in the way. So you have to manage that somehow. How you do that is left to an exercise for you guys to fiddle around with and see what you can come up with. But that's just something to be mindful of. The last thing we're going to talk about is how do you know when to move? Because it's a timing thing, isn't it? You're racing the other centre to the puck. How do you know when to start your movement?
When the elbow or the hand moves on the puck.
Watch the elbow. As soon as the elbow moves, you've got to get to know referees too, and that's difficult when you're starting because every week you get different refs, and you might not get very many face-offs. So it's a question of trying to learn what they do. But different referees will have different movement patterns, and you can start to learn them. Probably not at the moment. I think that's probably a bit too sophisticated for you at the moment, but certainly something to be aware of. But as a general rule, the elbow, because the hand moves. Have any of you done any martial arts or boxing or anything like that? Any sort of combat sports?
No.
I hesitate to use a sport when the idea is to give your opponent an acquired brain injury, but still, if you've ever done any, you're quite often taught to watch the elbow, not the hands. Why is that?
Because that's what moves first.
Yeah, and what else? There's another part. You're right, but what else happens when the hands relative to elbows? What moves faster?
The elbow.
No, the hand.
Oh.
Hand moves about 3 times faster than the elbow. So you'll miss hand movement, but you won't miss elbow movement. So you watch the elbow out of the corner of your eye, and as soon as you see the elbow move, that's when you start your movement. Now, you might be double hands trying to drive forward and pull back. So as soon as you see that elbow, you start your drive forwards. Get over the puck and pull it back if you're trying to win it to a backhand. If you're waiting to push it forwards on a forehand shot or something like that, you might hesitate. You might hold just a little bit, see that first elbow movement, and then start your shot. But you want to start your shot before the puck hits the ground. Don't wait for it to hit the ice because it's too late. And if you can do that consistently, you'll find that you'll start to win a lot more face-offs. So how are you going to get better at doing that?
Practice at sticker pucks.
Practice at sticker pucks. Get someone to drop a puck for you. Practice it. Practice start off with no opposition. What I used to do to start off with is I just put a puck on the ice and I'd practice going forward, sweeping it back and putting it somewhere. Like I'd have a target behind me. I'd just be trying to hit that target repeatedly and do that 4 or 5 times. And I'd also go to the attacking zone face-off dot and I'd practice trying to get forehand shots on the net from the face-off dot. And then I get someone to drop the puck for me so that I can work on the timing of that. And then I get someone else to oppose me, start off with maybe just standing there, and then start off with active opposition and just kind of progressively making it harder and harder as I go. And I might spend 10 or 15 minutes at a stick and puck practicing face-offs because you can. Do you have to be at a rink to do it?
No.
You can do it at home. If you've got a garage or something like that, you can practice. If you do, and you're on concrete or something like that, put tape or something on the bottom of your stick to protect it, or you will wear the stick out. But it's something that you can practice a lot. And the more you practice it, the faster you'll get at it. So that's about it. It's been about an hour. We've talked a lot about sort of general centre stuff. I hope you've all got something fairly useful out of it. Main thing is, remember, your center is the insurance policy. Your job is to own the center of the ice and be usually the first back checker, usually filling in for the D when they get out of position, or if they go and challenge a player in the corner or anything like that, you become the D. I will cycle centers through D, and if you're playing D at times, I will occasionally promote you up to center to see how you go. Again, because I think it's more useful for Ds and centers to rotate than it is to run wingers through center most of the time, because it's just the mindset is different. Have a plan. Make sure your teammates know what your plan is, but keep it really simple. And maybe only have one plan to start with. We've already got our defensive zone face-off. Take responsibility for the defensive zone face-off. You have to remind your wingers of what to do. You can also stall a little bit, and it's a little bit of a cheeky tactic, but you can delay a face-off for your players to get in position. How do you reckon you can do that?
Don't put your stick on the ice.
Well, they can drop it without you, even if you don't. But what else can you do? Like, there's a bunch of little things.
Just be out of position
Yeah, stand across the dot.
on the hash marks.
Stand across the dot. And they say, oh, get back there. Oh, yeah, sorry. Beginner, didn't know. Talk to the ref. Ask them a question. Say, where should I put my stick? Can you show me? Or something like that. And guess what? They'll explain it to you because they're nice people. They want to help. Like, there's all sorts of stuff. Or just be late there or whatever. But try not to be too late because they will drop the puck without you. Straddle the dot. Put your stick in the wrong place. All sorts of things you can do to add a couple of seconds to a face-off if you need it for your players to get in position. But it doesn't make any difference if your players are already set and they're just standing there. There's no point wasting time if they're already where you want them to be, or if they don't know where to be anyway. But take responsibility for the face-offs. As centers, it's your job to get that organised. You stand here on the drop of the puck, go, remind them, and then try and win it. But remind them what to do. Because even if you don't win it, if they're moving, that's the opportunity. All right. Any questions? Should be gazillions of them, but
Yeah, I had one about where you can actually put your stick around the dot when you're doing the face-offs.
it
seems to be
on your side of the dot.
Right.
Different referees will interpret it differently, but your stick is supposed to be on your side of the dot. I'll see if I can find a good picture of it. That's already in motion. That doesn't help. That's not the stick set. That doesn't help. Yeah, you can see it from this one. This is that Vegas photo from earlier. Look at where the Canucks center stick is. It's on his side of the dot. The circles are supposed to have a little white gap in them. Now, the ones at iceHQ don't. I think they've kind of died, but they were there at some point. What they're supposed to look like, pull up a whiteboard just so you can kind of see it. Oh, don't give me AI. I just want a whiteboard. Oh, that's garbage. I just draw it on a picture instead. I'm going to share an image and then draw on it so you can kind of see, but it's not the right way to do it. Come on, wakey zoom. There we go. So what it's supposed to look like is a circle. You're supposed to have a focus. No, I could learn to draw. Does this let me draw circles? Yes, I can draw a circle. Okay, so you're supposed to have face-off circle like that. And it is supposed to be sort of, I'm kind of, it's a square when it shouldn't really be. See how there's now two, like the top and the bottom is like a little semicircle?
Yep.
So your stick is supposed to be, I'll grab a different color if it'll let me. Your stick is supposed to be in this area. And their stick is supposed to be in that area on the drop of the puck, touching the ice. Supposed to be. Various refs will interpret that in different ways. Not all the dots have that there, but if your stick is on your side of the circle, creep forward as far as the referees will let you. So the further forward you are, the better, because that's where you want the stick to be anyway, generally. The other thing you can do too, face-off technique-wise, is if your opponent's beating you all the time, just drive straight at their stick. Don't worry about the puck. So as soon as you see that movement, just drive your stick forward into their stick and push their stick out of the way. You will find players who will beat you every time. It's going to happen. And you'll find players that you'll beat every time, and that's going to happen too. If you're being beaten every time, lift their stick up and then skate one step forward into them. Don't knock them over, just skate straight into them. That way they can't move and they can't do anything useful. Then you get a second effort to see what you can do with the puck. Don't knock them over. This is Div 9, not NHL. But yeah, you can take a step forward and basically own that space, basically stand over the dot. Make sure you've got a box on or some sort of a groin protector because you can wear a stick. I don't mean to do it. All right, any more questions? We're all done. Cool. I will put the recording up on the Facebook group, so you can see it there, and all the videos from this. I'll put them up there as well later this evening, so you can see all them as well and kind of rehash them if you like. But I hope it's been useful, and for those of you that do decide to sit through this afterwards and watch it again, I hope it was useful. Ask me questions. If you can, try and drag me along to a stick and puck. I do like doing them. It's just a question of managing time, and we can do some sort of one-on-one stuff with face-offs, which is valuable as well. I need to practice too, so I haven't practiced it for too long, and it's starting to, like anything, use it or lose it. So I need to do the practice as well. Anyway, I will see you guys on the weekend.
Cool.
Thanks, Carl.
Good night.
All right.